All right.
Good.
You good?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So today's video is going to be about
Financial realities of immigration. So Marty
uh
will gonna share his ideas uh about that.
and it's not more of an idea, it's actually reality. And I
Mhm.
think this video is motivated by one of the cases you came across your Facebook forum for the K1
Visa
visa
process.
ladies
Yeah.
that dealt with a guy that just couldn't afford,
To file for
I
visa.
think, just to
Yes.
file for a visa. And so we're about to talk about this now. So if you're gonna come across, well, so it's like this: if you plan to file for K1 visa, these are gonna be the costs. And so I convert. So I kind of looked at the fees. I also convert them to from a dollars to Filipino pesos.
Mm-hmm.
So your listeners that deal with Filipino pesos actually have an um, understanding how much it actually costs. And also, we will talk about reality when it comes to the finances, like what do you expect in USA? Because as I'm an immigrant that's been living in States for 30 years,
Mm-hmm.
quite often when you travel, people have no idea what's actually going on here. Everybody thinks about that life in the United States is, it's
Mm-hmm.
easier, that people have things here and all these things, but that's actually not the case. So let's talk about this. So first of all, so it's called K1 visa, but there's a lot of different applications and a lot of things you have to file to go through this whole process. So the first application, as most of your listeners will know, it's the I-129. And this is an application that mostly, when I filled it, concentrates on me. So
Mm-hmm.
technically, it's when it comes to me, and all that is being filed to Department of Justice, and Department of Justice will look at my case to verify that I am no risk to my potential fiance Filipina. So it's
Mm-hmm.
nothing about the Filipina. It's all about me to make sure I don't have any uh, past offenses as like a sexual predator, maybe violence to my partners.
Mm-hmm.
I did not uh, have any history when it comes to sex, trafficking, and such, right? So it's technically to protect my potential Filipina fiance.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then in that application is $675. That's 40,000 Filipino pesos. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have a visa fee, which is $265. That's 15,500 Filipino pesos. The medical, it's $500 USD, which is 28,000 Filipino pesos. Kids 15 years or under, it's $250 per kid, which is 14,000 pesos. Then you have your filing, which is I-485, which is for a green card, which is $1,450. That's 85,000 pesos. Then you have your I-765, which is $260 and 15,000 pesos. Then you have a paper filing, which is $520, 30,500 pesos. Online filing, $470, 27,000 and a half Filipino pesos. Then you have your I-131, which is $630. That's 37,000 pesos. You ROC I-751, $750. That's 44,000 pesos. Then you have your biometrics, which is $85. That's about 5,500 pesos. So now the total, okay, the total of the filing fees comes out to $6,200.
Wow.
Okay, so we're talking about I have the numbers here. 600. That's 364,000 pesos for one person.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if for each child, you adding everything to that. So if you have a lady that has technically two kids, that comes out to, I mean, you can look at it $15,000. So that's going to be about 1 million pesos.
Wow. That's super
Okay,
expensive.
so that's a now. Let's talk about like average income, right? And the income varies in the United States, but we're gonna look at the average.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when it comes to the income, I think the whole world still has that picture of the United States from 70s, which is 50 years ago, where you had a husband and that husband went to work and he was able to support his wife, his kids. They had a decent car, middle class house, education, and occasional vacations. Well, today it's not these are not exactly the same times as they used to be, because in 70s and 80s technically females or wives had to enter a job market as well to help out with the bills. And the truth is that today you have both husband and wife bringing income, and 65% of Americans are making they were technically working paycheck to paycheck. They have absolutely
Mm-hmm.
no savings. Most of Americans are maximum debt. That means they're maxed out the credit cards.
Mm-hmm.
And 60% of Americans don't have more than $1,000 in savings. So that means if they get a flat tire, something breaks, something happens, they cannot pay cash. They have to put in a credit card. And like we said previously, a lot of Americans don't even have credit card limits left. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So to make $6,000, it's a one thing. To save $6,000, when you not make when you even if you can save $100 or $200 a month, that's 3 years of
Mm-hmm.
savings, and having no emergency, no nothing. Okay. So what I'm saying is that like sometimes when you talk to like your like Filipinos or people from outside of this country, they think it's not a lot of money, but it actually is. Now the numbers are so. I
Mm-hmm.
made a sheet.
Wow.
I prepared.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I said, when it comes to the income varies like a lot, right? Because you have, for example, CEOs that make 600 times more than an average like owner, like a company worker. So it's a huge, huge, huge difference. But let's say that we're gonna look at like an average guy, average income, and we're gonna consider like what your average expense is and how much money you can actually save over, so you understand the massive commitment that it takes to actually bring a lady to this country, and also for the lady to what expect, like what it's gonna take. Okay, so you could say that average income, and we're talking about after you pay your taxes, your insurances, and everything, and your Medicare, then Social Security, and all that. Let's say you'll make $1,200, okay, a week after everything. Let's round it up to $5,000 a month. Five
Mm-hmm.
thousand dollars a month. Okay, that's technically 60,000 a year. So that means for a single guy to make 60,000 a year, you're gonna make about 90 plus $1,000 a year. And I can tell you, most Americans don't even make that, not even close. You
Mm-hmm.
have people that make 40, 50, 60,000 before taxes.
Mm-hmm.
So if you make $90,000, you're the lucky one. Let's be real about that. So
Mm-hmm.
now let's calculate. Okay, your average rent right now it's about $1,800.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, maybe you can get lucky on 15, but there are places where you pay $6,000 for rent. New York,
Oh.
California. There's
Mm-hmm.
areas where rents are super super expensive. If you live in a small tiny apartment, even it's still expensive. You'll pay three and a half thousand dollars. Okay, you cannot make it on a $4 or $5,000 income a month, or you're gonna be very living very frugally. So let's say average rent, if you're lucky, your mortgage, $1,800, $2,000 a month. Okay.
Mhm.
Now you have a car payment because you need a car. Your average car payment is about $1,000. So let's
Mhm.
say you're paying your car payment between $800 and $1,000, but then you got to pay insurance, your gasoline, and registration. We're gonna get that. Your food. Look, I mean, you can go to a restaurant for two people and spend $100. If you can spend on food $300-400, let's say a week, if you cook it yourself. Okay, so that's
Mhm.
so $300-400 is right there. Your phone, your internet a month, you're gonna look at about $100. Insurance for a house, $200 insurance, registration for your car, $250 a month, and then you got your garbage, your utilities, and all that stuff. That's another $100. You're technically spending $4 or $5,000 just on the utilities, your house payments, your insurance, and all these things.
Mhm.
So even when you make a good income, you technically have nothing left at the end of the month. Okay,
Mhm.
so now the thing is, and we're talking about a single guy. So the whole goal of let's say finding a good hardworking lady is that if you have a lady with you, your rent or your mortgage doesn't change. You can split that responsibility, right? So let's just say that if I'm living paycheck to a paycheck, and then you come over here and you're gonna start working, that means whatever let's say I can use most of my money to support our basic needs, and then whatever you make, we can use that as an extra, and we can start saving some money. This is the whole goal. So
Mhm.
if you think that, for example, you're gonna come here and you're gonna have an easy life, and and you guys gonna support you and all these things, and then whatever money you're gonna make and you're gonna send it to Philippines to help your family, that's not gonna work. I you, I did not verify this, right? But I remember when Trump became a president, there was this regulation.
Mhm.
Uh, this regulation when it comes to amendment to an immigration that if you bring a wife from Philippines, Thailand, whatever it is, and she's not contributing, she's not acting like your wife,
Mhm.
you can file a complaint to immigration and they will get her deported. So and I think it's a good rule because what it does, it says if you're gonna come here for a good reason.
Mhm.
Okay,
Exactly.
so as you know that in relationship there has to be a balance. In life there has to be a balance. Work it has to be balanced. So that means you input energy, your time, your whatever it is, your talent to get something out of it. All right.
Mhm.
So what I'm saying is, like, for example, if I'm gonna spend money and time and and let's say I'll bring you here, that also, what I expect is that you also invest your time and whatever. So it's like for betterment of the whole of the whole circle,
Mhm.
family or
Family,
of the
yes.
relationship.
Mhm.
So that means like input output, right? So I need you to be productive. So our overall, position where we at, we can. So two of us can do more than one. Than let's say just me.
Mhm.
Now, when it comes to relationship, like it's no secret that more it's United States and more the Western countries, developed countries. We have this culture that's very anti-men, anti-masculinity. I don't need a man, the boss bitch, whatever you want to call them. Females are technically, they don't want to have families, they don't want to have kids, and all these things is because now women, they're technically quite often a lot of them they make better income than men, so they don't need a man to support them. You have government and police to protect them, so I don't need a man to protect me. So why am I supposed to have a kid and sit at home and deal with a little crying bastard? I
Mhm.
rather work and then enjoy my life, go on a vacation, and I can change men whenever I want to. I don't have to deal with nobody's BS, right? where
Oh.
guys are still, they want to have families, they want to have a traditional kind of relationship. This is one of the reasons why you see so many men, they kind of flock to kind of Asian countries where you still have that traditional culture of relationship. Now, I don't have to, I'm not going to say that everybody has to agree with me, but if you don't agree with me, I absolutely don't care. I'm
Mhm.
not blind. I see what's going on, and obviously each case is going to be a little bit different, and everybody has some sort of an opinions and such to kind of back or let's just say not excuse necessarily, but I think this way because blah blah blah, whatever you can come up with opinions and facts and whatnot. But that's how I see it, and the culture of relationships obviously changed. The numbers it speaks for themselves, and we have more divorces than we
Right.
have marriages. You see, when it comes to having kids, right? We are not having enough kids to replace us. So we're technically on a decline, and it's not because of men; it's because of women. Now, by no means, look, it's like this. You see guys giving up. The
Mhm.
guys give up when it comes to relationships. And the fact is that when we're together, we always do better. Two is always better than one.
Mhm.
Okay.
Exactly.
No matter how you're going to look at it. So, look, like if let's just say that we have a housing shortage, the average home cost is $440,000. That's almost $500,000 for a house. No young kid out of high school, out of college, under 30 can afford $500,000 house, even a down payment. So
Mhm.
now they're trying to come out with this idea where if you cannot afford a 30-year mortgage, that is going to take you 50 years to pay off your house. But let's say a $500,000 house with the interest after 50 years is going to cost you 1.5 million. You're technically paying for three homes.
Mhm.
So yeah, and one of the reasons why they're trying to find a solution for that is because young men now. Okay, I cannot find a woman. If you walk up to a woman, she's gonna look at you like you pervert. You can't walk up to a woman even in the gym to help her out because she's
Mhm.
gonna look at you like a sexual predator. So young men technically give up, right? And you see, if a young man's got a lady, she's gonna push him to do better, right? Go get a, uh, we're, men falling behind in education, they're falling behind in income. Women are, like I said, you see more women in colleges, universities, more women are getting jobs, and men just they don't have motivation. They kind of give up. It is like, well, what am I gonna work for? I can't afford house. I cannot afford college. If I come out of college, I have so much debt. Like I will never pay it off.
Mhm.
Like there's nothing for them to look forward to. The ones that are lucky enough where they can at least afford traveling. You can travel to Thailand, you can travel Philippines, Vietnam, whatever, and maybe you can actually get lucky there because over here it's kind of pointless. And I'm not saying the United States doesn't have good women because they do, but if you're a good woman, most likely you're married or you're in a relationship, and
Mhm.
whatever's left over, that's what it is. It's the leftovers. So this is where the Philippines, for example, comes, in play. Is that I think what Western men have to offer, which are hardworking, responsible, they don't mind. Some of them don't mind if you have a kid,
Mhm.
uh, and it's something that Filipinos actually like about Western men. It's
Mhm.
intelligent, responsible, hardworking, and
Independent.
whatnot. So that's a good base, right? But when you're thinking about is that, like, for example, expectation that, oh, like, let's say some guy's gonna say like, oh, I cannot come and see you or whatever. And look, sometimes like I have to work in this. Quite often it's not, it's the finances,
Mhm.
because same thing is to travel. right? You
Mhm.
know, when you look at the cost of travel, and let's say your flight ticket right now it's going to be, let's say, $1,300, or let's say $1,300. You're going to either land in Manila or Cebu, and then let's say if you're in Tacloban, then from there you got to take the plane to Tacloban. In Tacloban you're going to find hotel. It depends where you want to stay, but like a decent hotel is going to cost you about $60-$70 per night if you stay 2 weeks, right? Even 10 days. So you're looking at another $600 to $1,000 for the hotel. The cost of even food, let's say hotel breakfast, you're looking at $11 to $15 for breakfast, right? For a person. We've been to Bohol, like I've been to a lot of places in the Philippines, and we've been to Bohol. We took a lot of trips and this and that. The truth is, if you're gonna take a 2 3 hour 3 week trip, you're gonna look at $4 or $5,000,
Mm.
which is same thing is that's about a, let's say, a decent month's salary. 1 month's salary for 3 to 4 weeks of vacation. Now, the thing is that if you have a house, if you have a rent, and you have utilities, and you leave, you're not making any money, but you got to pay all these utilities. So now you got to make enough money to cover these utilities. And now, out of the money you don't have left over anyway, like I said, if you can save 300 for even $500 a month, if
Mhm.
you're decent, you're technically every your whole saving after a year is gonna go towards your vacation to see your Filipino lady for a little bit. And this is the honest truth. And when you think about it, is you are technically spending all your savings. Now you need 3 times more than that, or 2 times more than that, to bring her here. What do you actually get back for your money?
Mm. Yeah,
Because
that's the big
if
question.
you think about it, the only thing that your Filipino lady can provide for you temporarily is companionship. You get to see her on a video, you get to talk to her and such, and then even if she's gonna come here, and that depends, what kind of job she was holding, what she's experiencing, so like you're a teacher,
Mhm.
okay, there's you can find a job as a teacher. However, if your English is not good enough, you're not gonna get hired in school. So what does that mean? Is you're gonna find some bullshit job with minimum income, right? And you're not gonna be contributing a lot.
Mhm.
If you work in as a nurse, your English is pretty good. Okay, we're talking, so that's actually not bad. So there's few careers, and you can look at the shortages, but also think about it. It's like you're gonna come here and you're gonna compete against Americans that speak fluent English with already certification or school done over here. So technically, you will be working here as an immigrant, and depends. Same thing is if depends where you live. Like if I live in Indiana, the minimum wage is still under $10.
Mhm.
That's gasoline money. You know, um, look. So like for me, for example, let's say you make. Do you would you consider that 20,000 Filipino pesos per month? It's a good income,
Mhm.
like decent income.
Decent income for a,
Okay,
yeah, regular Filipino. 20,000 a month.
okay. So 20,000 pesos a month is what I pay for my electrical bill or gas bill.
That's actually expensive.
Okay. So when you think that it's not about how much money you make because the cost of living is so much higher. Remember when we calculated that I had what I pay for 2 eggs, you buy a tray of 30.
Mhm.
And this is I think where you have like the misunderstanding of the actual numbers and the actual economy is that yes, you have more opportunity here, but you know, the prop I will give to Americans is that when you can drive around during the week, you're not gonna see a lot of people outside. Everybody's gonna be at work. You have low income, whatever. It's like, there's obviously, look, there's a lot of freeloaders that technically get, government pays them for not working, and they pay medical and housing and all that stuff. But most Americans are hardworking, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, in Philippines, you can walk around anytime. You see a lot of people. You have these little like street vent stores, and
Vendor. Yeah.
and people are much happier in Philippines. It looks like, even the ones that are broke, they don't make a lot of money. But also, look, you can live in a shed. You know, like the how you say it. It's I mean, technically, that's what I would call it. It's a shed or chicken coop. You cannot do that in the United States because that would never be approved even for housing. If you live in areas like Illinois, for example, or Wisconsin, you will freeze your ass off. So for you to actually, you're gonna live either in a house that's got electrical, plumbing, all these things, which cost a lot of money, or you're gonna end up under a bridge, okay, with the newspapers in your jackets and shirts, so you don't freeze to death. We don't have that option because our infrastructure is much different, because our climate is also different.
Mm-hmm.
So technically, if you have a house, if you have a car, um, and you lose your job, and you cannot find a job fast enough to cover your things, you're gonna lose everything.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have much, if you live in a little shed, it doesn't matter. You can survive much easier without a job in Philippines. However, over here, if you lose everything and you know how to play the game and how to play the system, you can go and government will give you an unemployment for like 6 months, for example. Then you might get an extension. Um, if you're a single mom, that helps a lot too, because you get money for kids, you get insurance for kids. But for a guy, it's pretty tough. I've never, like I said, I mean, I have never used the governmental like help when it comes to SNAP. So the foods, it was supposed to be supplemented and all these things. But some people know how to gain system. They don't work, or they work for cash, and they live better than the middle class income. Now, the middle class was the flower of the United States. That's why the United States did good, because you had a lot of working middle class, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then what happened was, once we went through an inflation, like I said, the women had to enter the workforce to help the men out. And then we got rid of the production, the factories, and technically production of everything that went to China. And then the middle class technically just got shut down even more. The
Mm-hmm.
corporations that iPhones and everything else that start producing things for cheaper, these got more powerful and obviously much wealthier, including all the stockholders. So you could say that in the United States, you are poor, you
Mm-hmm.
get everything from the government. If you're wealthy, you're going to have a good life here.
Mm-hmm.
If you are left, whatever's left over of the middle class, the average
Mm-hmm.
class, you're technically getting your ass whooped.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And if you're, like I said, if you're a single guy and you got all these bill paid, if you can get a decent woman that will help you to relieve some of this burden, and then you can save some money, put some money on the side.
Mm-hmm.
And like our goal is to, let's say, buy a land
Mm-hmm.
in Philippines, build a home, and in 8, 9, 10 years, technically move out of here, sell everything here, and just kind of live off grid. Have a garden, chickens, a cow for my milk, for my coffee, and just
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, like even you can open a small business or whatever it is, just as long as you have a purpose, you have a reason to wake up and stay busy and all.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the whole goal. So I think it's just that anywhere you go, like you go to Philippines, right now, as much as I love Philippines, The when it comes to the vacation hotels, tourist attractions, it is so expensive. It is so expensive.
Mm-hmm.
You go Vietnam, you get everything half the price or more.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and what's going to happen is that if somebody travels, you can get a better bang for your buck, and that means that everywhere you go, you don't feel like somebody's trying to rip you off, especially if you're a hardworking person and you work for hard for that money. They
Mm-hmm.
wanna, like I said, when you go Bohol or whatever, it's the fees and you want a snorkel equipment, that's extra charge, and you got these environmental,
Environmental. Yeah.
all this, and they keep just piling up, and the hotels, the cost, and it's this is the season and all these things. Like at some point, like I said, you calculate your vacation cost and your hotel cost, and then you look at Vietnam or even Thailand. You know, it's like it's not even close. So what I think is what's going to happen is that people that actually travel, and you see a lot of foreigners that move to Philippines, they're
Mm-hmm.
moving out of Philippines. They just say the cost of living is too expensive. Look, your infrastructure is shit. Your education is shit. Your medical is shit. We already know that. Your internet is crap. Your food is nothing special. Like I said, we've already talked about it. When you travel, you don't see a Filipino restaurant. You see Thai kitchen, Chinese kitchen, Indian kitchen. You see so many kitchens. You don't see a Filipino kitchen. Yet, you guys are one of the most expensive Asian countries I've ever been to.
Mm-hmm.
But you have so much potential because you have and let's talk about the provinces and the chickens and the you rent a motorcycle, there's dogs everywhere, like you have to be careful around the corners, like it's like a wild west. They are certain things that are so aggravating about Filipinos. But
Mm-hmm.
people, like, to me personally, I love the people, I love the culture. They, I mean, it's kind of funny because same thing as like karaoke is great till you live in a bar does karaoke every night. You cannot sleep till 11 o'clock because
Yeah.
somebody's got them yelling and screaming, right?
Mm-hmm.
About us. So I think there's a difference between when you go on a vacation, you could say like, oh, I love this spot, but when you actually live there, and then you got to deal with internet and the power outages, bad
Mm-hmm.
roads, shitty service, and you got to wait in line, like everything. It's and education, like educational level in Philippines. You have African countries that do better. It's just horrible. And as a teacher, we already spent hours and hours and hours talking about it, and yeah, nobody's doing anything about it because you guys technically stay quiet and you vote for politicians that promise you the most free things, but free things doesn't come from nowhere. So
Mm-hmm.
that's why you have to learn and you have to be aware of the cultural thing and these things, and obviously look, like Filipinos and Thai and whatever, you guys are very tight, closely to your family, and you want to support your family
Mm-hmm.
and send money, and listen, and there's gonna be emergencies, right? And thinking as me, as your future husband,
Mm-hmm.
I'm aware, but this is thinking is you have to put down like certain rules that you, for example, put down a little bit money every week, and that money is gonna be for an emergency, but it's not like whatever you're gonna make, you're gonna send back home, and then I'm gonna have to cover everything, because then you're not contributing. Then you're nothing but a parasite.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I might as well just find that over here. So set clear rules when it comes to the finances, right? That
Mm-hmm.
listen, I understand you gotta have family, but as we also previously talked about, is there cases that you have a guy brings a lady here, then she sends, let's say, $100 or $200 every month to the family. She's doing good. And then they had an emergency. She couldn't send the money 1 month, and the family is being angry at her because she's not sending money. Because they got addicted to that money and they already expected, because they had the money that was supposed to pay for this or that. Do not do that. Do not do that. The money is only in emergency. Do not have your family rely on your income, because you have to consider that you have two families, right? You have a family with your husband and you have a family with your family. And of course you want to, in case emergency, like we want to help if we're in a position to help, but also sometimes we might need help too and there's nothing they can do about it, right? So it's like a one-way highway. And you have to be considerate about it. That when you, like I said, when you talk, because they are women that if you're gonna say sorry, honey, but we cannot help right now. Let's say I lost my job, we cannot have your family. She will pack up and she will leave you, and she'll go back to wherever she came from. There are situations like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's important to talk about finances and talk about things so you are both on the same page, understanding that listen, if you can make this much money and we can put this much money on the side, for example, every month, have a budget. That's a responsible thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, if she do not stick to these rules that she agreed, pack her ass up on the plane and send her home. Because at the end of the day, I'm sorry, but it's gonna be a problem. So the finances, as much as people don't want to talk about it, has a big, big, big role when it comes to relationship, right? We were talking about number one of divorces is the attitude and the tone of voice. Number two is money.
Mm-hmm.
And the economy in the United States is not going to get better. It is a failing country, but it's still so much better than Philippines. But also, like I said, what at least from what I observe, is that a lot of women outside of Filipinos, it's not, the money is not a big deal for them because they don't have to pay for anything. They don't have to pay for the visas. They don't have to pay for the plane tickets, for the medical exams. They don't have to do anything. So they don't understand that, like, look, I mean, maybe if like if I wouldn't understand money and if I live in a poor country, I don't know, maybe I wouldn't understand either that, you wake up 3, 4 in the morning, you work 12, 13-hour shifts, and you're barely making it, yet you're still trying to, have all that money to, let's say, help and like, what do you call it? Technically, for you, it's just a relationship. For her, it's going to be better quality of life and maybe better opportunity. So she has more to gain than you do. Obviously, like me and you, like, obviously, I'm not with you for your money or your wealth, because you maybe you have a lot. It's just you're not saying. And if that's the case, then I love you. I'm kidding. But you understand, it's like, for everything to be ideally perfect, and let's just say it's not going to be perfect, things have to be balanced, but we are far from balance because it's going to, it's going to, like, one side will have to input a lot of resources because the other side doesn't have any.
Mm-hmm.
However, the end game is going to be equal for both parties.
Mm-hmm.
So this is where, you know, for a guy, for example, it's that you got to make sure that your lady appreciates you and what you do. Uh,
I do
if the
appreciate you.
lady, yeah, well, I'm not saying, I'm still talking to you, right? If the lady, for example, like, if I would be dating a Filipina and she'll be like, oh, I need money for this, I need money for that. And she starts to talk to me with expectation, like that I need to give it to her, I will erase her number and block her so fast, Speedy Gonzalez will think I'm fast. You don't know anything about Speedy Gonzalez, do you? It's the fastest it's the fastest mouse in Mexico. Mexico.
Oh.
It was a cartoon. Anyway, but listen, it's one of those, like, uncomfortable conversations, and
Mm-hmm.
even me, when we originally started to talk about the K1 visas, and then I saw the cost of the filings and everything. Remember, like when we start dating, I had long hair.
I don't know. I don't know what you're talking
Look at me.
about because you are bald.
I lost all my hair. I was like, it was constantly. It was like, what,
Yeah, yeah.
260, a little here. What, 520, a little bit here. At
When
the
you are
end of the
20,
day,
they saw you have a
I
hair
looked.
in your when you are
I
in your
look.
20s.
I looked at the mirror and I'm like, oh my god, I have no hair because I wore it so much, and that's why I'm bald now. And then I start picking up gray hair when I heard like, oh, it's gonna take this long.
Yeah.
Look, it's what do you call it? It's look, the finances, like I said, the finances are especially around poor people. Right? It's like do not talk about finances because it's kind of bad or sinful. Well, this is why they're poor.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
talking about money, it's like you're technically learning about money. You're also learning what your partner thinks about the money. Is because no matter how you're gonna look at it, look, um, you could say, "Oh, money doesn't make you happy." Yes, it does. First of all, because it allows you for certain freedoms, and it sucks not to have money when you have an emergency case, right? It's like, oh, you always talk about money. Well, if emergency happens, who are you gonna call? You
Mm-hmm.
need money, right? And like I said,
Exactly.
if you don't care about money, if I'm bitching about the money, well, then how are you gonna get yourself here? You
Mm-hmm.
need money. You need money
Yeah,
for everything.
we
So
need.
this is the thing. Talk about money, respect money, first of all, and
Mm-hmm.
understand each other because getting money takes a lot of energy. It takes work. Saving money, it's even worse. Especially nowadays, it's so hard to live here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and this is look, the common thing what I see between cars are between countries that are well developed and
Mm-hmm.
countries that are developing is that in developed countries people are so hardworking they are not happy. Like United States, it's not a. I wouldn't say it's a country of bunch of happy people. Filipinos are much happier than Americans.
Mm-hmm.
Vietnamese, Thailand people, holy shit, Thai people are like seriously so hard. And like they go through certain hardships, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems like more you have, the more you have to lose. And now you're just chasing and you're working and life is passing you by. Like that's, for example, like why I like you because you have much different outlook. You live your life differently. You have less, yet you're so much happier than me. And that that kind of affects me in a positive way. Like it just finds a way to kind of balance me out, right? And
Mm-hmm.
that's the thing is it just kind of reminds me that when I look at how you live, and let's say for example how I live, that I'm very lucky. Like
Mm-hmm.
to what I have, it was not given, it was earned, but it's still in Philippines. If I would put the same amount of energy,
Mm-hmm.
there's no way that I could have what I have here.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that, like I said, United States still, if you're hardworking and you learn fast, and you know what, you still have opportunities here, like more opportunities by far, especially when it comes to the Philippines, for example. But when it comes, to retirement and such, yeah, this is not a, like I said, if you don't have or they're talking about you need about $2 million now,
Mm-hmm.
to retire, which most people don't. Yeah, like Vietnam. Right now, I think a lot of people retire in Vietnam, Cambodia, uh, Thailand is getting a little bit expensive as well. Philippines is definitely getting expensive, and from like these four countries, I see the uh, most foreigners that flee is Philippines. Technically, Philippines is gonna lose a lot of people, and I do believe that it's gonna lose a lot of tourists as well. It's just because At some point is they're overdoing it. There, it's like I said, it starts to feel like it's a ripoff. And and like I said, people vote with their wallets, and people don't like go places where they feel like they've been taken advantage of. That's my personal opinion. And like I said, I've been a lot of places in the Philippines, a lot of places in Asia, and I've never felt anywhere when it comes to how people just overcharge you for things as much as I felt in the Philippines. And look, in Thailand, you go, it's like, or you go Cambodia to touristy places, and you got a lot of kids, and everybody wants give me money, or they're trying to sell you things, and blah blah, and all these things. But yeah, like when it comes to services and all these things, like that's kind of how I feel. Yet it's not all bad, but like I said, if you can find a decent land and build a home somewhere far away from roosters and dogs, have your own
Mhm.
garden, chickens, I like eggs and this and that. Like it's a pretty attractive kind of life to live if you just want to settle and kind of relax. And at the end of the day, have a nice Filipina in your arms. At the end of the day, I
Uh,
mean, I think it's a good life.
yeah, that's our goal now. Hmm.
Hmm.
But I need
That's
to
what.
be with you first and save money. And you were talking about sending money to my family. And for emergencies, you're okay with that. But since the kids they will be followed to join, right? So I'll be sending money first with my children every month
Not with your children, for your children.
for,
Uh,
yeah, for my children.
Okay, so let's clarify the whole kids thing. Okay,
Okay.
so I'm gonna have to change my headphones because one of my headphones is beeping. So the I-129F, when you file it, everything gets through. You get approved for a visa. You have up to 12 months to enter United States before visa expires.
Okay.
However, now there's a rule that it says that also your kids
Mhm.
have visa after you, and they also have to enter either with you or
Or follow to join.
after you
Mm-hmm.
or follow to join. However, we found that so my original understanding was that, let's say you get your visa in, let's say, January, and then in February you can fly to see me, and you can either fly with your kids, or you can come, even your kids can even come in December. That's not the case. So the total for both, it's 1 year of visa, but the kids have to follow within 6 months after mama, but it cannot be more than 1 year from the visa insurance. So just to clarify, if the visa is approved in January and you come in May or June, the kids have to the most be 6 months or less from your arrival, or up to maximum 12 months of the total visa issuance. So it's not like you can come here in January and your kids can come in December. No.
Mm-hmm.
The total, the total of visa being active, it's 12 months, but the difference between mom and children is less than 6 months. So
Mm-hmm.
less than 6 months, they have to join you, right? Now, when we talk about, and this is very important because our we had a conversation about this, and my goal is to bring you here first, and then have your kids join you within 6 months or less, right? So let's say 5 months. So let's say you come here January and your kids will come on May. The reason for that, okay, is that first of all, it depends what age are your kids. Then you have a lot of additional costs when it comes to the kids. So let's say, if you're gonna come here, we're gonna have to, like, we have to go to immigration, we have to file, we gotta get married, right? Then we gotta file for a green card. All these things are expensive. So that means like an average person has to take more time off from work, yet you're spending, it keeps adding to everything, right? You're spending money, you're working less. Now, we have to find you a job. Once you get your paperwork, you get your social security or approval for working in that, and then on top of it, you have to do the same thing with your kids, and you have to sign them to school. And then it depends where you live. Is the school, for if they're in school, luck hopefully, is there a school bus that can pick them up? Or what if your kid is too young that cannot go to school? Who's gonna take care of that kid? Because the child care in United States, okay,
Mm-hmm.
is starting at $1,100 a month. That's 64,000 pesos per month.
Mm-hmm.
So that means a decent paycheck just goes to a child care.
Mm-hmm.
Now you don't have money to even survive. Now to pay all your bills. So you have to be aware that if your child is underage or you cannot send them, if you can even afford the child care, okay, or even babysitter, which is going to be super expensive here, then how are you going to go to work? So technically, you come here. Now I have two of your kids, okay, and I'm working. I'm trying to even, let's say, cover all our expenses, food, and all these things. Now, health insurance is crazy, crazy expensive here. Um, Average health insurance, let's say for family, is about $1,500, which is, let's say, 90,000 pesos per month is just for health insurance. So in case something happens to your kids, that's half you. So that means your child care and the health insurance for family, that's half of my paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
This is very, very important because a lot of people, they don't calculate these things in a matter. You're gonna bring a woman, and now there's no way you can make it. You are technically gonna put yourself in so much debt. Even if you got a credit card limit, you're gonna keep putting things in the credit card. You're gonna end up after a few months with $10,000 debt. That's between 20 to 30, 27% right now interest.
Mm-hmm.
It's like these things have to be considered. That's why my thing is that I don't want to separate you from your kids, but my goal is you bring your Filipino here. Depends if you live in a city, if you don't live in a city. Now I gotta teach you how to drive, or what we did, I sent you money and you went to driving school in
Yeah,
Philippines.
I know now how
Okay,
to drive.
then yeah, yes, but still, you need more hours. So still, you're gonna
Mm-hmm.
have to drive here. Then we gotta
Mm-hmm.
go get your driver license. Then I have to get your car, register your car. Now put insurance on your car. That's more money. Now we're gonna have to find you a job. And once you learn your ways around here, hopefully within 5 months, then we can bring you kids and you can help a little bit. So that means if your kids need to be school, go get them, registered and all these things. So I don't have to keep taking days off from work.
From what I have known, schools only open for half day, not whole day. So
Where?
in United States, there are
I don't know what you're
half
talking about.
day. So morning classes only, and in the afternoon there is no classes, or there is afternoon classes and no morning classes. So I can actually
I,
schedule
I,
classes for.
I, 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 I wouldn't be talking like if I was you because you have no idea. I don't even know where you got that information. No, you have regular morning days like of classes. So let's say from 8 till 3 or 4.
Hmm. Okay.
There's like if you're in the college or whatever it is, you can pick and choose. But normally, if you go to high school or elementary school, you have like eight hours of school every day.
Mhm.
minus the holidays and such. And listen, and it's not like you're gonna, it's like, oh, if I have evening classes or morning classes, like who's gonna hire you? You think you're
Mhm.
gonna apply for a job and you're gonna say, but you know what? Excuse me, I want afternoon hours. Well, guess
I'm
what?
I just learned it from
Like how,
my um I just learned it from one of the blogger. She's a teacher in Indiana, and her class is only morning class. So in the afternoon, she will pick up
her class,
her class. Yeah,
her her class.
yeah, her class. And she will pick up
But
her
listen.
daughter from school,
Hmm.
and her daughter took afternoon classes. Okay.
Hmm.
Then she will look after her daughter after
Hmm.
her teaching hours. Kind of,
Hmm.
schedule.
Hmm.
So
I
that's
don't know what she school went. Listen, I don't know what school she works or
uh-huh.
what's going on, or if she's a little bit homeschooled. Since she's a teacher,
Yeah, she's a teacher for 20 years now.
so you know what I mean. It's like, so technically you can do certain classes in school, and then she can do homeschooling.
Mm. Homeschooling.
But under normal circumstances, you're technically are at school from like 8 till 3 or 4,
Mm-hmm.
and under normal circumstances, you probably work schedule is going to be the same thing. Like an average is 7, 8 o'clock to like 3 or 4 p.m.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And quite often, it's not like you have an option to pick your schedule. I do,
Mm-hmm.
but if you're gonna come here and first, you gotta like develop your resume, find a job, and like I said, it's that really depends, or where you find a job. But since your experience is in school, but your English is not good enough for school, then you're gonna have to find an entry job that's just not gonna pay well.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So listen, it's one of those things that, like I said, it's one of those things that I have no idea how it's gonna turn out. Um, and especially right now, we have, the unemployment is growing. Everything, stocks and everything is falling. Um, so it's a question mark. Let Government was closed for technically 45 days, so everything's the processing and everything stopped. We have no idea even when things gonna get approved for us. Then, like, we have no idea like how long that's gonna take, right? It's not up to us.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a big question mark, but it's like I said, you have to be patient, but you have to understand there's gonna be obstacles. And if I have a job that, for example, it doesn't allow me, let's say to, like, look, I mean, some companies are super strict on attendance. Some people are less. But like, if I couldn't leave early, or I couldn't, take bunch of days off, or if I couldn't afford to take bunch of days off because I already spent so much money, you have to consider all these things.
Mm-hmm.
Because then what are you gonna do? At some point, you are gonna not gonna be paying your bills. You're gonna be putting things on credit card. If you take too many days off, you're gonna lose your job. And now you're
Mm-hmm.
gonna be on unemployment, and you gotta bring your Filipina in the country.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. It's Listen. Like I said, it's one of those things that, like, you go through a lot of obstacles. And there's a lot of things that nobody's gonna tell you, but yeah, all these things are just getting tougher and tougher. So if you kind of think about it, yeah, it's like you looking all these fees we just talked about, and we're looking at when it comes to it, you got to get a car, driving license, all these things. It piles up. It just piles up, and Unfortunately, like even listen, even if you'd want to, there's nothing you can do to help.
Mm-hmm.
If unless you hiding 10, $15,000 somewhere, even if you can, like if you would, if you could, there's nothing you can do to help. So it has to be, like I said, both parties have to be ready for it. If you, ask, your fiance or your boyfriend to get married, then apply for like I said, for immigrational visa. Expect that the cost will pile up. Start to consider your kids, your time off, and among all these things, the cost of your vacations, among all these things, and she has to be super special for this to be worth it.
Mm-hmm.
To me, you are. I'm not asking. I'm not questioning you. But like when I think about like an average person, it's man, it's tough. You know what I mean? Like
That's
it's
why, yeah,
15, 20.
that's
Hmm?
why there are cases now that instead of going throughout the process of K1 visa, there are Filipino and foreigner. They choose to have spousal visa. So spousal visa is much cheaper than the K1 visa. So they get married here in the Philippines first, and they went through a process of 2 to 3 years. So waiting period.
I think that's false. And one of the okay, so listen, the difference between spousal visa, okay, and fiance visa is that look, there you still have to file a fee. Like
Yeah.
you still have to file application. So yeah, let's clarify this. Why would I do spousal visa versus fiance visa?
Fiance
Is
visa.
because spousal visa, we can file a spousal visa after 2 months of knowing each other. While for fiance visa, you have to be
2 years.
together and you can prove you know each other at least 24 months,
Mm-hmm.
aka 2 years. All right.
Mm-hmm.
But filing for that visa is $675. So filing for a spousal visa, there's still going to be a fee because they'll still have to look at the U.S. resident if he's okay, for him to bring his wife. Now,
Mm-hmm.
so you have the wife still has to do medical, all right.
Mm-hmm.
The kids also do have to medical. Then if she's gonna come here, she still has to apply for a green card, which is still the 85,000. She still has to file, other ones, and you still pay for a paper filing, online filing. They will still check her, criminal history. She still has to do biometric. You're not saving any money. It's BS that it's
Mm-hmm.
cheaper. It's not.
Okay. Well, the green card is already part of the process.
No, it's not.
It says that once you get a Filipina get married with a spousal visa, once she entered to the United States, she already have a green card.
No, no, no. You don't get it. It's like this: if we're gonna get married,
Mm-hmm.
you're legally my wife,
Mm-hmm.
and then you're gonna get a green card, right?
Mm-hmm.
The cost for a green card it's 85,000 pesos, so it's $1,440. You
That's
still
too
pay for it.
expensive. Ah, yeah, okay.
The only difference between a fiance visa and wife visa is that wife, you come here, you file, and she gets the green card. For us, is first we have to get married, and then we file for your green card.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that we're gonna listen. If we get married right now, they will not just give you a green card. Like you think you're gonna enter here, and no, it's
Mm-hmm.
just you have to enter here, and then they'll give you a green card. You have to go apply for Social Security. None of that is gonna be taken care of in U.S. Embassy in Philippines. All that has to be done here.
Ah, okay.
The only difference is, like I said, you come here, we already married, or we have to get married first, and then all you do is you're bypassing that 60 day, but we're not waiting 60 days, right? we're going straight from the airport to the goddamn city hall. Will you marry me? Yes. Will you marry her? Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I now pronounce you
You're
man and
right.
wife. Like,
Uh,
and then straight up to the immigration office to file for the green card.
uh-huh.
What,
Honeymoon
no,
first.
but
You should have honeymoon first
look.
before.
There's not gonna be honeymoon. You're going straight to work. Okay, clean the baseboards and cook me a meal. No, but look, but yeah, there's absolutely no like when you follow up all these up, it's this exactly the same thing.
Uh-huh.
You're not bypassing anything.
Hmm. So yeah, that's the difference, love. And spousal visa, it's 2 to 3 years, but K1 visa, it's 1 year taking period for Filipina to go with.
It's so when but okay, let's do a math. Okay,
Okay, okay.
so I meet my beautiful Filipina. After 1 month, I know she's the one. I'm flying to Tacloban. We're getting married. All right.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm filing a spousal visa for
Visa.
her. We
Okay.
are we are waiting 2 3 years. So 24 to 36 months.
Uh-huh. 24 to 36 months for space spousal visa. Yeah.
Okay, so we put S V
Mm-hmm.
spousal visa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Now, second, I found a great girl. She's bitchy nice. She's gonna be my wife. 24 months. I'm filing for a fiance visa. So we're
Uh-huh.
waiting 24 months. I filed the fiance visa. It took us 1 year for
Exactly.
approval.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
1 year. See the
What's the
difference?
difference?
Huh?
There's no
20,
difference.
there's no difference.
Same thing.
Yeah, there's no difference.
Now, now you understand why there's no difference? Because if somebody marries you after, let's say, after a month or 2 months, and they're gonna wait 2 3 years, and they're still
Mhm.
together, it's just like a fiance. They want to see that you guys been with each other for long enough that it's just not a fluke.
Mhm.
You are not getting any shortcuts. It's
Yeah,
gonna take you
throughout the process.
36 2 3 years with the whole process since you guys
Uh-huh.
met or whatever. Yeah. Same thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's same time, same cost.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing. He's gonna come here. The only thing you don't have to do is you don't have to get married here in the city hall.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only
That's the only
difference. Since you
difference.
already,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you
Spousal
could.
marry here
what if?
first,
Yeah. What
then
if I'm gonna
stay.
come and see
Mm-hmm.
you?
Mm-hmm.
If I'm gonna come and see you, and then I'll ask you to marry me there. We'll get married in Philippines, and then you're gonna go to U.S. consul, and he's gonna say like, "Oh, that's your husband. Then why did you file for fiance visa?" And you can say, "Because I wanna be married here, and then I wanna be married there."
The Cuban visa will be invalid because one of the rule is you should be married. We should be married at here.
But understand, but that would be cute. I was like, I just like to marry him. I wanna do it again. That's why we decided to get married here as well.
Oh, once we get married in the USA, then after 10 years we can renew our vow here in the Philippines. Get married here.
After how long?
10 years. You told me that after 10 years you can retire here in the Philippines or other Southeast Asian countries.
And remarry you?
Remarry,
I
yeah.
lied. I lied. I just wanted to sound good. I'm like, of course I lied. After 10 years? Oh
Uh-huh.
my god! Like,
Renew our
I
vow. Yeah.
why do you think I train and I run so much? So when I start running after 10 years, you cannot catch up with me. Listen,
Uh-huh.
by the time, okay, by the time you cross, like, Cebu, already gonna be in Davao somewhere, hiding in the mountains.
I don't wanna marry that girl. She's a bitch. She's a bitch.
Hey, you said it, not me, okay?
Well, that's actually
All right.
funny. I think that's
Yeah.
all.
So
Mm,
I think it's like we don't need to keep, like, whoever's watching it. So let's kind of finish this,
uh-huh.
based on
Okay.
the today's topic, which is the
Mhm.
finances.
Okay.
I would just the reason why I added that running to Davao is that how much is a ferry?
The ferry,
The cost,
the cost
yeah.
around 950 from here to Davao. If you take a ferry.
Okay, PHP. So since we're doing finances, I just wanted to say that after 10 years, if you're an American or foreigner, and while after 10 years, and when you're gonna start running from your Filipina, clingy Filipina, the cost is 950 pesos, and 950 pesos is gonna be about, mm, I'll say $17, $18. It's totally worth it. I mean, it's totally worth it. And Davao, it's a beautiful. I mean, it's a beautiful. I like Davao a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Just uh, just make sure you don't stay in Acacia.
Akasha, Akasha Hotel.
Okay, okay, Acacia Hotel. What do you call it? Yeah, the $20 cold breakfast is it's not
Uh,
something I'm not gonna forget.
it's super cold.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I think that's all for today. Thank you so much,
Mm-hmm.
Cloud, for sharing that.
Thank you.
Um, Financial realities about immigration,
Mm-hmm.
Kim and spousal visa differences. So,
Yeah. I mean, it's technically that, and look, it's
mhm,
the costs do kind of piled up. Like I said, I can't say how it is 10, 15 years ago. I think it's just a lot of things that you hear. Oh, it's like, oh, he's got a wife from there, what? But you don't understand like what happened or the process in the background. And the reality is, most of Americans are struggling, like
mhm,
especially guys, and like if if you're a young dude and you live at your mama's basement,
mhm,
you know, uh, I mean, or if you have
yeah,
a house, whatever it is, I mean, the costs kind of add up. And obviously, if you're going to have a wife, you do want to, I don't know, like I said, some people rent, some people are homeowners, but
mhm,
it adds a lot of extra stress, especially in the beginning. This is why sometimes, in my opinion, is split up your woman and her kids couple months so she can get off her feet. She understands the area, the travel, and all these things, so she can step in. Because if you bring everybody together, and like I said, cars, clothing, everything, finding a job, signing kids to school and schools, and what if something happens and she's like, I don't know where school is, or maybe it's too far for me, I don't drive, all these things, it can be a chaos.
mhm,
So preparing and understanding, it will kind of at least allow you to wrap your mind around it and prepare for just in case
mhm.
situations.
Exactly. Mhm. Thank
And
you.
I'm a preparer.
Yeah, you are. That's why I love you.
All right,
Mm.
hold on. Okay.
What?
Hold on.
What's that?
Like they do it. They do this in Hollywood, and they're like, stop. Remember?
Oh yeah, it's the end or start.
Uh, Go.